Hi everyone, it's Kelsie Grady here, and I'm so excited to tell you about my amazing summer at the Brevard Zoo. The Brevard Zoo is split into several different loops: Petting Zone, Caribbean Trail, La Selva, Wild Florida, Australasia, and Africa. I spent my summer working on the Australasia Loop, also known as A-Run. I got to work with so many amazing animals, so I thought I'd give you all a quick overview. The first exhibits you see when entering A-Run are the 1.1 black swans and the 2.0 hyacinth macaws. Next, you'll come up to the kangaroo yard. Although we call it the kangaroo yard, it's actually a mixed species exhibit. This yard houses 2.5.1 red kangaroos, 2.2 emus, 1.1 Reeves muntjacs, and 1.0 swamp wallaby. After the kangaroo yard, you'll come to our Visayan warty pig exhibit. We actually have 1.2 warty pigs, but I didn't have a picture of our male. On the right, you'll see a video of one of our female pigs enjoying some back-to-school enrichment. You know what I mean? Trying to see how smart he is. A large portion of A-Run is dedicated to walk-through aviaries. In our main aviary, we have 90-plus lorikeets, 1.1 rose-breasted cockatoos, 1.2 spoonbills, 2.2.4 scarlet ibis, 1.0 mountain peacock pheasant, 2.1 mandarin ducks, 2.1 masked plovers, and 1.1 Raja shell ducks. The next aviary is the cockatiel aviary. This aviary is home to 50-plus cockatiels, 0.1 masked plover, 1.2 black-bellied whistling ducks, 1.2 Nicobar pigeons, 1.1 white-crested turacos, 0.5 flying foxes, and 3.0 straw-colored fruit bats. The final aviary is the turaco aviary. This houses 1.1 white-crested turacos, 1.1 red-crested turacos, 1.1 Orinoco geese, 0.2 blonde mandarin ducks, and 0.1 laughing kookaburra. You'll also notice a picture of a crest river turtle. Each of our aviaries has several of them. There are a few exhibits sectioned off in the aviaries. These are for 1.0 Gulf Coast box turtle, 1.1 tawny frogmouth, and 1.1 wrinkled hornbill. These are just animals that can't be in with others and the guests aren't able to go in with. We have a few animals on A-Run that are only seen by the public during special events. They are the 0.2 dingoes, who are considered ambassador animals, and they only come out for dingo talks, which happen 4 times a week and are very special for the guests. And then we also have our 0.0.1 tawny frogmouth chick. This chick is being hand-raised because its parents kept throwing their eggs out of the nest, and the keepers were hoping for a successful hatching. This bird's name is Furby, and everybody loves it. Being an AZA accredited facility, means that enrichment is a very important part of each day. Normally, it was the closer's job to enrich each of the animals, but sometimes we would all work together to find fun and exciting stuff for them. Here, I wanted to share just a few of the enrichments we used. On the left, you see the bat enrichment. The bats really loved willow and bottlebrush, so they were very interested in this. The next two images showed Jimmy enjoying his yoga ball and some of the other roos coming to check it out. On the right, you can see us taking the macaws for a walk around the zoo. We stopped to check out the meerkats along the way. This was very enriching for both the macaws and the meerkats. On the left, you can see the dingoes enjoying their birthday cake. It's made of fish, ground meat, pinkies, and fuzzies. Along with the cake, they also had presents that they were able to tear apart and play with. This was really fun to watch. It was out in the yard where we usually give dingo talks, so the guests were able to enjoy it too. In the middle, you can see me tongue feeding one of our adult tawny frogmouths. We like to do this occasionally. It's fun for us, and one of the birds really enjoys it. The female is pretty skittish, and she hasn't really allowed it yet. The top picture shows our dingoes being introduced to the otters. Like with the macaws visiting the meerkats, taking the dingoes to see the otters was enriching for both. You can see Victoria standing right up on the fence trying to get a good look at him. In the bottom right photo, you can see some of the frozen treats we made. Some include blood for the dingoes, but most of them have fruits and juice for the birds and for the pigs, and some have lettuce for the animals in the kangaroo yard. They all love them so much, especially on those hot Florida days. So along with enrichment, training is an important part of each day at the Brevard Zoo. By training almost all of the animals on this run, you're able to build strong relationships, create a safer environment for both you and the animal you're working with, and make medical procedures or checkups less stressful and more rewarding. In these videos, you can see one of the keepers working with one of the younger kangaroos. She's trying to train Emma for voluntary pouch checks. These end up being very beneficial. You're able to make sure that the pouch looks okay and that there are no concerns. And if the kangaroo has a joey, you can check to make sure that the joey is doing okay. So far, only one of the 5 female kangaroos allows pouch checks all the time. That is JC, which is Emma's mom. Bindi, another female, allows it occasionally, and Emma is on her way. Before beginning this internship, I knew there was a project required. I really hoped to do something with enrichment because that is something I really enjoy being involved in. Once I began my internship, I found out that the kangaroos are quite difficult to enrich, so I decided to base my project on them. My mentor told me about a trial she had read about with turtles and enrichment, and it seemed perfect for this situation. Sadly, due to timing, I wasn't able to complete the trials, but here's a look at the plan and a few practice runs. Here I have a photo of the paired choice preference assessment. We came up with a list of possible enrichments and chose the 4 we thought they'd enjoy best. We decided to focus on only 2 of the kangaroos, Bindi and Jimmy, because we knew we could get participation from them each day. I asked each of the keepers on A-Run to fill out a prediction sheet, one for Jimmy and one for Bindi. These predictions give additional information on our ability to enrich these animals. At the end of the trials, we could use the predictions and results to develop better enrichment for the kangaroos. In the morning, when it was time to feed out, we would get Bindi and Jimmy into the barn with a small amount of food and lock them in while we set up the 2 enrichments. Once it was set up, we would have a camera and timer ready. When we were all set up, we'd remove their food and open the door for them to come out into the yard. Once they got to the ramp, we would begin the timer. They had 3 minutes to choose an enrichment. If they didn't choose in that time, we would say no choice. So here are 2 of the practice trials. In this first video, it's a little hard to see because Bindi came out first and then Jimmy came out after, so I had to turn the camera to try to get both of them in, so you might have to tilt your head a little bit to see it.
To Zoo Base. To Zoo Base.
basically, the rest of this video shows them continuing to interact with the feeder until all of the lettuce is gone. There were several factors that we needed to take into account. So, as you can see in the first video, a lot of other kangaroos came up and wanted to check everything out, so that can be pretty distracting. And in the second video, Bindi came straight over to me and was not happy that I was not giving her scratches. So finally she went over, and once she realized that I wasn't going to pay attention to her, she walked back over and interacted with the feeder just like Jimmy. Another thing we noticed was that they may have been choosing the spot instead of the actual item, because in the first video they went right to the mirror, which was placed on the right, and in the second video Jimmy went right to the food, which was placed on the right. So we don't really know, but that could be a possibility. As I said at the beginning, I wasn't able to complete this project. Due to renovations, A-Run was closing at the end of my internship. So prior to the closing, we spent about a week catching up birds, and my keepers decided that I could use that as my project instead. So if you remember back to the beginning of this presentation, I said that we had 90 plus lorikeets. Well, each one had to be caught, recorded, banded if they weren't already, and weighed. You can see in this picture that we have a bird banding kit, so we have bands that are smaller for the cockatiels and just a little bit bigger for the lorikeets. These pictures attempt to show each step of the process. In the top left, you see one of the keepers reaching in to grab a bird. In the next two photos, you see us holding the birds while another keeper reads the band. Once the band has been recorded, we would place the birds in a paper bag to be weighed. Once weighed, they'd be placed into another crate and then be taken to the temporary aviary. This process was repeated for each lorikeet and cockatiel. It was a little different for the larger birds, but they were all still recorded and weighed. I really can't thank the Brevard Zoo enough. They provided me with the experience of a lifetime. Not only did I get a lot of hands-on experience and new knowledge, I also made great relationships and had such an amazing time. I hope you all had as amazing a summer as I did. Thanks for watching.